The galaxy was watching. Every screen, every broadcast, every alien world was focused on one place. Earth. The Alien Council had finally decided to end the silence. For centuries, humans had lived quietly on their small blue planet, never joining the council, never showing their power. The aliens thought this silence meant fear. They believed Earth was weak, fragile, and primitive. Now, the greatest fleet in the galaxy was moving toward Earth. Thousands of warships, heavy cruisers, and battle stations, all armed, all confident. To the alien leaders, it was not war. It was simply a hunt. The narrator's voice grows heavy, full of suspense. Why are humans so silent? Why do they not resist? Why do they not even try to defend themselves? The commanders laughed in their chambers. They called humans easy prey, simple animals, and soft creatures. In their arrogance, they imagined victory before the first shot was fired. But then, something happened. The first alien ship entered Earth's orbit. The crew activated long-range scanners, preparing to study the planet. They expected to see ordinary readings, air, water, cities, signals. But instead, the machines began to scream. Screens flickered. Warning alarms echoed through the ship. Lights burst, sparks filled the air, and terrified voices shouted across the control room. The captain demanded answers. What is happening? What is wrong with the scanners? The answer chilled every soul on board. The scanners were overloading. Not because of Earth's weapons. Not because of Earth's defenses. But because of the humans themselves. Inside the data streams were images, chaotic, violent, impossible images. Wars that stretched across centuries. Empires rising and burning. Cities falling into fire and ash. Yet every time, humans survived. Every time, they came back stronger. The crew stared at the screens in horror. They had wanted to see weakness. Instead, they saw a history of blood, fire, and survival. One alien officer whispered, trembling. This species, they should not exist. Nothing should live after so much death. The captain tried to shut the system down, but the scanners kept flooding the ship with visions. They showed humans fighting each other, tearing each other apart, destroying their own world again and again. And still they endured. The fleet's laughter turned to silence. The easy prey they mocked was not weak. It was something else. Something terrifying. The narrator's voice sharpens. What kind of creature survives endless wars, endless pain, endless destruction, and still rises again? Across the fleet, whispers spread like fire. Some said humans were cursed. Others said they were immortal. A few whispered the most frightening thought of all. Maybe humans were not prey at all. Maybe they were predators. The council chamber received the first report. But instead of victory, it was filled with fear. The machines had collapsed. The scanners were destroyed. Crews were shaken, unable to speak. Some fainted. Others screamed that they saw shadows of war inside their own minds. The galaxy watched in shock. For the first time, the aliens wondered if silence had not meant fear. Perhaps silence had meant something else, a warning. Because now, they had looked into the history of mankind. And they could not unsee it. The narrator's final words cut like a blade. They came to hunt humans. But what they found was the terrifying truth. The alien fleet still floated above Earth. The scanners were broken, the crews were shaken, and the silence of the humans was more terrifying than any weapon. But the Alien Council demanded proof. They wanted a human. A real one. So one of the ships was ordered to land and capture a human for study. The landing team moved through the dark forests outside a small human settlement. Their armor was strong, their weapons advanced, and their orders simple: bring back a living subject. After hours of searching, they found him. A single human soldier stood alone, watching the night sky. He did not run. He did not hide. He simply stood there, calm and silent, as if he had been waiting for them. The aliens laughed inside their helmets. So this is the creature that frightened our scanners. Look at him, so small, so weak. They surrounded him. Their weapons glowed, ready to fire. But the human did not move. He looked at each of them, one by one, his eyes cold and steady. For the first time, the aliens felt something strange. This was not fear. This was not panic. This was something else, something older, something sharper. The captain stepped forward, raising his weapon. "Human, you will come with us." The man said nothing. He simply nodded, as if agreeing to their command, but his silence made the aliens uneasy. It was too calm. Too controlled. They bound him in chains of energy and dragged him back to their ship. The journey was filled with nervous whispers. Some of the soldiers could not stop staring at the prisoner. Why was he so calm? Why did he not resist? Inside the research chamber, the human sat on a chair of steel. Bright lights burned down on him as alien scientists moved closer. They poked, scanned, and studied. His heart beat steady. His breath remained slow. Finally, the chief scientist ordered a telepath to enter his mind. The room grew silent. Everyone leaned forward. The telepath touched the human's head, confident and proud. For a moment, his eyes closed. Then, he screamed. The sound was like nothing the crew had ever heard. A scream filled with terror, pain, and madness. The telepath fell to the floor, clutching his head, begging for the visions to stop. The others rushed to him, but it was too late. His mind was broken. His eyes were wide with horror as he cried out. Fire, endless fire, wars without end, death everywhere. They kill. They fight. They never stop. They never die. The crew backed away from the human. He had not moved. He had not spoken. Yet he had destroyed the strongest mind among them with nothing more than his presence. The captain shouted, "Restrain him," but his voice shook. His hands trembled. Because deep inside, he already knew, this human was not prey. The scientists replayed the telepath's last words. Over and over, the recordings repeated. They never stop. They never die. The human finally spoke, his voice quiet but strong. "You think I am alone. But we are billions." Silence fell across the chamber. The crew looked at each other with fear. Billions? Billions of creatures like him? The narrator's voice grows heavy with suspense. One soldier. One prisoner. And yet he had already broken the strongest weapon of the fleet, fear itself. The captain made his report to the council. His words were cold, heavy, and slow. "The humans are not what we believed. They are calm in chains. They do not fear death. And when you look into their minds, you do not see weakness. You see war." The council chamber froze. No one laughed this time. The silence of the humans was no longer a mystery. It was a warning. The narrator ends with chilling words. The aliens captured a man. But what they really captured was the first piece of a nightmare. The alien fleet had expected victory. Instead, they had fear. The telepath's screams still echoed in their memories. The council tried to explain it away, calling it an accident, a failure of technology. But deep inside, every soldier, every scientist, every commander felt the same question rising. What are humans? The council demanded answers. They wanted proof, not whispers. So they ordered a new test. A deeper experiment. The human prisoner was taken to a chamber of steel. The walls were covered in strange devices, machines that could read memory, measure pain, and test strength. The room was cold, the air heavy with silence. The alien scientists stood behind glass, their eyes fixed on the man. He sat calmly in his chair, chains around his arms and legs. He did not fight. He did not beg. He simply watched them, his expression unreadable. The lead scientist spoke with pride. "We will learn what makes this creature dangerous. We will break him apart. We will see his truth." The machines roared to life. Energy pulsed through the room. Lights flashed. Needles, scanners, and probes pressed against the human skin. At first, everything seemed normal. His heart beat steady. His breath calm. But then, the machines began to fail. One by one, screens went black. Numbers turned red. Warning sirens echoed. The scientists shouted, slamming controls, trying to hold the systems together. "Impossible," one cried. Another shouted, "His body, it is too strong. His mind, too deep." The human finally spoke, his voice calm and steady. "You are not the first to try this. My own kind have done worse." The scientists froze. His words cut through them like a blade. He was not lying. They could feel it. The machines pushed harder, diving deeper into his memories. And then, the chamber filled with visions. The aliens saw fire raining from the sky. Cities destroyed by bombs of their own making. Armies clashing in endless wars. Disease, famine, storms, disasters that wiped out millions. Yet in every vision, the humans survived. Broken, bleeding, starving, but alive. The lead scientist gasped. This cannot be real." Another whispered, "How can a species live through this?" The images grew darker. Soldiers fighting in mud, in snow, in deserts. People starving but still marching. Parents shielding children as bombs fell from the sky. The aliens trembled. They were not watching one war. They were watching thousands. And yet humanity never ended. The narrator's voice drops low, filled with suspense. Other species would have died. Other worlds would have fallen. But the humans endured, no matter the cost. Suddenly, the machines exploded. Sparks flew, glass shattered, and smoke filled the chamber. The human sat unmoved, his chains glowing red but unbroken. When the smoke cleared, he looked at the scientists with cold eyes. "You wanted to see what we are. Now you know." The room fell silent. None of the aliens spoke. None dared to move. The lead scientist, his voice trembling, whispered to the captain. "He is not special. He is not unique. If this is true, then all of them are like this." The captain's face went pale. Billions. Billions of humans, each carrying this terrifying history in their blood, their bones, their very souls. Word of the experiment spread through the fleet. Soldiers whispered in fear. Some refused to guard the prisoner. Others begged to return home. The silence of the humans was no longer seen as weakness. It was seen as the silence of hunters waiting in the dark. The narrator's final words strike hard. They came to test the human. But the experiment did not reveal weakness. It revealed the truth: humanity does not break. Humanity does not end. Humanity survives. The experiment had ended in fire and silence. The human sat in his chains, untouched, unbroken, while alien scientists trembled in fear. The council demanded answers. The galaxy demanded proof. So the aliens turned to history. Deep in the council's archives, machines began searching Earth's old transmissions. For centuries, humans had sent signals into space: music, voices, pictures, even their wars. The aliens had ignored them, thinking they were the foolish noise of a young species. But now, every signal was studied with new eyes. And what they found was terrifying. The first records showed battles with swords, shields, and fire. Armies of humans charging against each other in endless wars. Kings, empires, and kingdoms rising and then falling in blood. One alien historian whispered, "No other race has fought so many wars against itself." Another answered with fear, "And no other race has survived them." The archives continued. The aliens saw ships crossing oceans, humans exploring, conquering, and building. They saw revolutions, betrayals, and rebellions. Cities burned, rebuilt, and burned again. Then came the age of machines. Guns, tanks, planes, and bombs filled the human story. Wars now stretched across the whole planet. Millions died, yet humanity did not fall. The narrator's voice sharpens. They did not run from war. They carried war in their blood. They turned every new tool, every new idea, into a weapon. The council chamber grew cold. Even the bravest commanders felt unease. Then came the darkest part. The humans had built weapons that could burn entire cities in seconds. They had faced the fire of their own creation, nuclear war. No other race in the galaxy would have survived such madness. But the humans did. They stood among ashes, broken but breathing, and they rebuilt again. One alien counselor whispered, his voice shaking. "They have faced their own extinction, and they endured." They are not afraid of death because they have lived with it every day of their history. The images continued to flow: floods, plagues, famines, disasters that would have destroyed weaker races. Yet every time, the humans adapted. They did not wait for rescue. They became their own salvation. The scientists reported their findings to the council. Their words were heavy. Humans are not survivors by chance. They are survivors by nature. Every part of their history is proof. Where others break, humans rise. Where others surrender, humans fight. The chamber grew silent. The galaxy watched. The council tried to dismiss the evidence, but fear was spreading. Across alien worlds, ordinary citizens whispered of Earth. Some said humans were cursed. Others said they were chosen. But all agreed on one thing: humans were not what they had seemed. The narrator's voice grows colder. The silence of Earth had never been weakness. It had been the silence of something older, something darker, the silence of predators waiting for the right moment. Back on the fleet, soldiers avoided the prisoner. They no longer called him weak. They no longer mocked his small frame. Now, they could not even look into his eyes. For when they did, they felt history itself staring back at them, thousands of years of war, pain, and survival. The alien captain reported again to the council. His voice was quiet, almost a whisper. We thought they were fragile. We thought they were simple. But their history is older than ours. Stronger than ours. More violent than ours. They do not just survive disaster. They grow stronger because of it. A chill filled the chamber. The council members looked at each other, and for the first time, they saw fear in their own reflections. The narrator ends the part with a chilling truth. The galaxy wanted answers. They wanted history. And they found it. Humanity's past was not a story of peace. It was a warning. A warning written in blood, fire, and endless survival. The council could no longer deny the truth. The humans were not weak. Their history was a warning. Their silence was a shadow. But pride is dangerous. The alien leaders still believed their fleets, their numbers, and their technology would crush Earth. So the order was given: attack. The sky above Earth filled with ships. Thousands of alien war vessels darkened the stars, surrounding the small blue planet. The galaxy watched in silence, believing the end of humanity was near. The first shot came like thunder. A burning spear of energy fell from orbit, striking Earth's surface. Cities shook. Oceans roared. Fires lit the horizon. The alien commanders smiled. They believed victory was already theirs. But then, Earth answered. It was not with fleets. It was not with massive weapons. It was with strategy. Human forces launched smaller ships, faster than anything the aliens expected. They struck like knives, not swords, hitting supply lines, targeting engines, cutting the enemy piece by piece. The narrator's voice grows sharp. Humans did not fight with strength. They fought with something far more dangerous: cunning. Alien commanders screamed as their fleets fell into traps. A single human ship would appear weak, almost broken, and when the aliens closed in, the humans would explode, destroying dozens of warships with one sacrifice. The aliens could not understand. Why do they throw their lives away? One shouted. The answer chilled them. Humans did not fear death. For every soldier that fell, 10 more rose. For every ship destroyed, another came burning through the smoke. The battlefield was chaos, but humans thrived in chaos. The alien fleets had numbers. But the humans had something far stronger: the will to fight even when hope was gone. The narrator whispers. They fight like they have nothing to lose. They fight like war is their natural home. In the void of space, an alien admiral watched as human pilots turned their crippled ships into weapons. One pilot, his craft burning, rammed directly into the bridge of a cruiser, tearing it apart in fire. The admiral trembled. These are not soldiers, these are demons. Reports flooded the council chamber. Every battle told the same story: humans refusing to break, humans turning defeat into victory, humans forcing fear into the hearts of their enemies. The councillors stared at each other in horror. This is impossible, one whispered. Another answered, no. This is humanity. On the ground, alien troops fought human resistance. Villages and cities were bombed, but from the ruins, humans rose with weapons in hand. Farmers became fighters. Children carried messages through burning streets. Families who had lost everything still threw stones at armored invaders. One alien commander watched in shock as an injured human, bleeding and broken, crawled forward just to throw a grenade beneath his tank. Even in death, the human fought. The commander turned pale. They do not stop. They never stop. The narrator's voice grows heavy. In space, in the sky, on the ground, humans did not fight for victory. They fought because it was who they were. Across the galaxy, alien citizens watched in fear. The invasion, once expected to be a simple conquest, had become something else. Humanity was not falling. Humanity was teaching the galaxy the meaning of survival. The battlefield was no longer a place of war. It had become a lesson. The alien admiral finally spoke the truth that no one wanted to hear. We are not fighting an army. We are fighting a species that has made war part of its soul. The narrator closes the part with chilling words. The battlefield was supposed to be the end of humanity. But instead, it was the beginning of fear. For the galaxy now saw what war truly looked like, when fought by humans. The battlefield was burning. Alien fleets were broken, their mighty warships scattered like ashes in the wind. But the humans were still standing. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Whispers of Earth. Whispers of the creatures who refused to die. Alien soldiers who survived the battles returned home in silence. They carried scars not only on their bodies but in their minds. Many refused to speak, but when they did, their words were always the same. They do not stop. They do not fear. They are not like us. The council tried to hide the truth. They released messages calling humans weak, calling the battles minor losses. But rumors are stronger than orders, and fear is stronger than lies. In every corner of the galaxy, people began to ask the same question. If the humans can fight the strongest fleets, what else can they do? The narrator's voice grows heavier. Fear is a weapon. And now, humanity had placed that weapon inside the hearts of every species in the galaxy. On alien ships, soldiers refused to face humans again. Some deserted. Some mutinied. Others simply shook with terror when they heard the name Earth. In the markets of distant planets, traders told stories of humans who turned their own deaths into victories. Mothers warned their children, behave, or the humans will come. What had begun as invasion now spread as legend. The alien commanders knew the truth. Reports came in every hour, filled with words no leader wanted to hear. Our troops panic at the sight of them. Our ships retreat before battle even begins. Our soldiers dream of human eyes watching them in the dark. One commander shouted in rage, "They are only flesh and bone. Why do you fear them?" But no one answered. Because they all knew why. Humans were not afraid of pain. Humans were not afraid of death. And that made them unstoppable. The prisoner on the flagship sat silently, still in chains. But even chained, his presence was a storm. Guards refused to go near him. Some claimed they could feel his eyes in their sleep. One guard screamed in terror and begged to be transferred after only a single hour of watching him. The captain himself avoided the prisoner's gaze. But one night, curiosity broke him. He stood before the human and whispered, "Why do you fight like this? Why do you throw your lives away?" The human raised his head slowly. His eyes were dark, endless. And his answer was simple. Because we know something you don't. We know that death is not the end. It is only part of the fight. The captain staggered back, shaken to his core. Across the galaxy, fear turned into something darker, respect. Some species began to admire the humans, seeing them as the embodiment of strength. Others saw them as monsters in flesh. But all agreed on one truth: no one could face humanity without trembling. The narrator's voice sharpens. Empires are built on power. But humans had built something stronger. They had built fear. And fear was spreading faster than any fleet, faster than any weapon, faster than any lie. Council members argued in panic. Some demanded a retreat. Others screamed for more fleets, more weapons, more destruction. But deep in their hearts, they knew the war was already lost. For how do you defeat an enemy that does not care about death? How do you break a species that was born from fire, raised by war, and hardened by endless survival? The galaxy trembled with the answer, you cannot. The narrator ends with chilling words. The fear of humanity was no longer on the battlefield. It was in the air, in the stars, in the soul of every alien who had seen the truth. And fear spreads like fire. The council chamber was silent. Not the silence of peace. Not the silence of calm. But the silence of fear. Reports from the battlefield lay scattered across the tables. Every page carried the same message: humans do not stop. Humans do not break. Humans do not fear death. The leaders looked at each other with hollow eyes. Their fleets had failed. Their armies had fallen. And still, the humans fought on. One counselor slammed his fist against the table. This is madness. They should have been destroyed long ago. But another counselor whispered, his voice trembling. No. This is not madness. This is who they are. The narrator's voice grows heavy, carrying suspense. For the first time, the most powerful beings in the galaxy spoke the truth. The terrifying truth they had tried to deny. The humans were not prey. They were predators. The council tried to compare records. They studied other species, other wars, other histories. But none were the same. Most civilizations avoided death. Most cultures feared pain. Most empires collapsed after one or two great wars. But humans were different. They lived with death. They carried pain. And war did not destroy them, it shaped them. One elder spoke slowly, as if each word weighed like a mountain. Humans are not the strongest. They are not the fastest. They are not the largest. And yet, they endure where others fall. They survive what others cannot. They rise from every disaster stronger than before. Tell me, what is more dangerous than a species that grows stronger through suffering? The chamber froze. No one had an answer. Outside, more messages arrived. Alien fleets retreating. Soldiers refusing orders. Entire colonies demanding peace. Fear had spread too far. The war was already lost, not because humans had destroyed everything, but because humans had destroyed certainty. The prisoner on the flagship was brought before the council through a holo connection. Still chained, still calm, he looked at the leaders of the galaxy without fear. A counselor shouted at him, desperate to feel control. What are you? What is your species? The human raised his head slowly, his eyes cold and steady. We are survivors. We are the fire that never dies. You thought silence meant weakness. But silence was the sound of us waiting. The chamber shook with whispers. His words were simple. But they carried the weight of a storm. The narrator's voice sharpens. They finally understood. The silence of Earth had been no surrender. It had been a warning. The alien leaders could no longer deny it. The truth was clear. Humans were not fragile. They were not helpless. They were the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. Because nothing, no war, no weapon, no terror, could break them. One young commander in the chamber whispered the words that soon spread across the stars. They are not afraid of death, because they have already conquered it. The galaxy trembled. The council declared the war ended. They demanded retreat. But it was too late. The fear could not be erased. Every soldier, every citizen, every world now knew the truth. The narrator ends with chilling words. They came seeking victory. They found survival. They came seeking weakness. They found will. And in the end, the council spoke the terrifying truth aloud. Humanity is the storm that never stops. The war was over. But the galaxy was not at peace. On the ruins of a burned flagship, one alien survived. His body was broken, his skin burned, his breath shallow. He was the last commander of the once great fleet. He stared at the silent battlefield. Human ships drifted in the darkness, cold and unshaken, like hunters waiting for prey to move. The alien survivor felt the weight of the truth pressing on him. He activated a recorder. His voice trembled, but he forced the words out. To those who will hear this, I am the last, and I will speak the truth. The narrator's tone deepens, carrying every word like a blade. We believed humans were weak. We believed their silence was fear. But we were wrong. Silence was not fear. Silence was patience. He coughed, blood staining his lips. His claws trembled as he pressed the recorder closer. They do not fight for conquest. They do not fight for glory. They fight because they cannot stop. They fight because it is who they are. He paused, his eyes widening as he remembered. I saw their soldiers burning, and still they moved forward. I saw their cities in ruins, and still they rose again. I saw death touch them, and they used death as fuel. The survivor's voice cracked. They are not the strongest. They are not the fastest. But they are endless. For every one that falls, 10 more rise. For every wound, they grow harder. For every defeat, they return stronger. He lowered his head, whispering in fear. They are not afraid of us. They are not afraid of anything. Because they have learned to live with the thing all of us fear most, death itself. The recorder shook in his hands. Behind him, a shadow moved. A human soldier stood at the edge of the ruined hall, his armor blackened, his weapon at his side. He did not raise it. He did not need to. The survivor looked up into human eyes. Cold, steady, merciless eyes. The soldier said nothing. He only watched. The alien knew he was already dead. But still, he continued speaking. To my people, to every world that can hear this, listen well. Do not mistake them again. Do not call them weak. Do not call them prey. For they are neither. They are the storm. They are the fire. They are the shadow that walks beside death and does not fall. His voice grew louder, filled with both rage and terror. You wanted to know what humans really are. They are survival made flesh. They are war given life. They are the last nightmare at the end of every dream. And if you fight them, you will learn, as we learned, that nothing can stop them. The soldier still stood, silent, unblinking. The alien's strength failed. His voice fell into a whisper. I speak these last words, so no one will repeat our mistake. Fear them. Respect them. Or be destroyed by them. The recorder flickered. His claws slipped. The device clattered to the ground. The alien fell back, his final breath leaving him as his eyes stared blankly at the stars. The human soldier bent down, picked up the recorder, and pressed a button. The message was sent across the void, carried on frequencies every world could hear. And then, the soldier walked away, leaving the ruins silent once more. The narrator's voice grows low, haunting, unforgettable. The galaxy had wanted the truth. Now they had it. The terrifying truth that humans were not prey, not weak, not fragile. They were the fire that rises from ashes, the storm that never ends, the shadow that even death cannot claim. The truth was clear. Humanity had been discovered. And the galaxy would never forget. Silence. Then only the sound of human ships moving forward, into the stars.